In a gripping and multifaceted episode of the Joe Rogan Experience Joe Rogan welcomes the prodigious athletic talent Gable Steveson for a conversation that spans the past, present, and future of combat sports. Steveson, an Olympic gold medalist wrestler with forays into the NFL and WWE, now stands on the precipice of a mixed martial arts career that has the entire fight world buzzing with anticipation. This dialogue is more than a simple interview. It's a blueprint for athletic transcendence, a masterclass in mindset, and a rare glimpse into the forging of a potential UFC heavyweight champion under the tutelage of the greatest of all time. Asterisk Part 1 The Foundation, a name destined for greatness. The episode begins with a moment of poetic symmetry, as Rogan highlights the prophetic nature of Gable Stevenson's name. Born to a mother inspired by the wrestling icon Dan Gable, his very identity seems woven into the fabric of the sport. Stevenson recounts his mother's story of hearing Gable, chanted at an Iowa tournament, setting in motion a destiny he would fulfill by winning his own Olympic gold. This opening frames the entire conversation. Here is a man for whom legacy and expectation are not burdens, but prerequisites. Their discussion quickly establishes wrestling not just as Stevenson's base, but as the crucible that formed his entire competitive psyche. Rogan, a former Taekwondo practitioner and high school wrestler himself, posits wrestling as the ultimate foundation for MMA, a sentiment Stevenson echoes but expands upon. It's not merely the ability to dictate where a fight takes place, but the unparalleled mental fortitude, the grind of practices, and the supreme conditioning that separate wrestlers. Stevenson articulates the current evolution in MMA, where elite wrestlers like Islam Makhachev and Hamzat Chimaev have mastered the art of MMA wrestling, seamlessly blending their takedown threats with striking to become unstoppable forces. This sets the stage for understanding his own approach, a world-class wrestler who is diligently learning to make opponents fear his hands just as much as his ties. Part 2 The Unconventional Path, NFL, WWE, and the Search for an Outlet. One of the most fascinating segments details Stevenson's detour from the mat. Frustrated by the lack of a professional outlet for pure wrestling, he embarked on a journey through other sports that showcased his freakish athleticism. His story of trying out for the Buffalo Bills, having never put on football cleats or pads in his life, is told with a mix of humility and awe. He describes sprinting his heart out to show effort, a tactic that earned him a shot and even a regular season tackle. Subsequent tryouts with the Ravens and Colts followed, but the fit wasn't right. A brief, televised stint with WWE was a positive experience, but Stevenson confesses the competitive drive was missing. He needed real conflict, not scripted drama. This portion of the interview is crucial. It reveals an athlete not just chasing fame or a paycheck, but searching for the arena where his competitive fire could burn brightest. Each stop was an experiment, and MMA, he reveals, had been in the back of his mind since the Olympics. He needed to explore other avenues to be certain before going all in on the all-consuming world of fighting. Part 3 The Mentor and the Metamorphosis. John Jones and the Catalyst. The emotional and strategic core of the episode is Stevenson's relationship with John Jones. What began as an Instagram DM from the MMA GOAT, seeking a wrestling partner, evolved into a life-changing mentorship. Stevenson describes being brought into Jones's camp before the second Dominic Reyes fight and being instantly struck not just by Jones's superstar aura, but by his meticulous professionalism and fight IQ. He offers priceless backstage insights, watching us like John Jones a week before the Stipe Miocic fight. Shark Tank 5 fresh opponents in a row, witnessing the deliberate midnight hotel lobby practice of the spinning back kick that would later finish Miocic, and the pivotal moment at Madison Square Garden, holding the UFC belt alongside Jones after a victory. You can have this, too, Jones told him. For Stevenson, that was the cherry on top that ignited his commitment. He speaks of Jones not just as a trainer, but as a life guide, offering advice on business, media, and avoiding the pitfalls of fame. Rogan underscores the rarity and value of this relationship, the greatest of all time, consciously guiding his potential successor, offering the wisdom he earned through his own peaks and valleys. Part 4 The Worst He'll Ever Be, the Scary Ascent of a Novice Striker. Perhaps the most jaw-dropping segment for fight fans revolves around Stevenson's actual MMA development. He reveals that when he first started training with Jones, he didn't know how to defend a punch or a kick. A viral clip of Jones kneeing him as he shot in his side with a laugh. Yet, just a short time later, he was having professional fights. Rogan, having analyzed Stevenson's dirty boxing matches, expresses sheer astonishment. He references a fight where Stevenson knocked an opponent out with a left hook and then took down his unconscious body, a display of savage, reflexive athleticism. Rogan sent a text to UFC CEO Dana White after that performance. Everyone's fucked. They replayed the knockout and the nonchalant, explosive leap over the ring ropes that followed, a move showcasing agility defying his 255-pound frame. The shocking part? Stevenson states he has only been striking seriously for about 7 months. His performance in dirty boxing was a deliberate act of self-handicapping. He wanted to win using only his nascent boxing to send a message. This leads to his most confident and repeated declaration of the show, asterisk asterisk, that's the worst I'll ever be. Asterisk asterisk, he emphasizes that every day of training is an absorption of knowledge, and with his work ethic and coachability, his ceiling is virtually unseen. Rogan agrees, noting that the heavyweight division is historically shallow and that Stevenson's speed and wrestling base already make him a nightmare matchup for all but the very elite. Asterisk asterisk Part 5, The Landscape and the Legacy, Goals, Mindset, and Fatherhood asterisk asterisk. The conversation turns strategic as they dissect the current UFC heavyweight scene. With John Jones semi-retired, Tom Aspinall injured, and a lack of deep talent, Rogan sees a prime opportunity. Stevenson is respectful of the top fighters, but draws a comparison between Tom Aspinall and Taha Akul, a tall, athletic 2016 Olympic wrestling champion he dominated 8-0. The implication is clear. He sees a path to victory through pressure and wrestling excellence. His goals are stated with calm clarity, sign with the UFC, debut on a major stage like the historic UFC 300, win the championship, and aim to break the record for title defenses. However, his motivation is evolving. With the baby girl due imminently, he speaks about becoming a father figure and wanting his legacy, the Stevenson name, to be synonymous not just with victory, but with being an excellent man who provided for his family and navigated life with integrity. Rogan pivots to the crucial philosophy of protecting one's focus. He warns Stevenson of the coming fame, money, and leeches, stressing that any energy spent on distractions is robbing from excellence. He uses the analogy of having only 100 units of focus. Every unit spent on drama, haters, or bad relationships is one stolen from the mission. Stevenson acknowledges this, crediting Jones for already instilling these principles and keeping him on a straight path away from the partying that has derailed many prospects. Asterisk asterisk Part 6, Beyond the Cage, Personal Glimpses and Wider Conversations asterisk asterisk. True to the JRE format, the discussion flows into broader realms. We learn about Stevenson's mother, who gets so nervous she watches his fights from the back, and his love for rescuing French bulldogs. His downtime consists of playing Call of Duty, Warzone, and NBA 2K, where he has his own player model. The conversation even touches on conspiracy theories, with Stevenson mentioning his diehard conspiracy theorist father, leading Rogan on a brief but impactful tangent about real historical conspiracies like the Gulf of Tonkin incident and the guarding of poppy fields in Afghanistan, illustrating how dark realities often fuel broader skepticism. Asterisk asterisk Final Verdict colon asterisk asterisk. This episode of Asterisk, the Joe Rogan Experience asterisk, is a compelling portrait of an athlete in transition, armed with perhaps the most formidable raw tools to enter the heavyweight division in a generation. Gable Steveson emerges as remarkably self-aware, humble, and intensely focused. The access to his thought process, coupled with the invaluable context of his mentorship under John Jones, provides listeners with a front-row seat to a potentially historic career launch. Rogan serves as the perfect interlocutor, part fan, part analyst, part life coach. His excitement about Stevenson's potential is palpable, and his warnings about the pitfalls of fame are grounded in decades of observing the combat sports world. The result is more than a sports interview. It's a documentary in real time about the making of a champion, emphasizing that the most important fights often happen outside the cage, in the disciplined corners of the mind. By the end, one conclusion is inescapable. A new era in the heavyweight division is not just coming, it's being meticulously crafted, and its name is Gable Steveson, the daily grind, training, recovery, and the science of preparation asterisk asterisk. Delving into the practicalities of his new career, Stevenson outlines a grueling yet calculated training regimen. Even without a fight booked, he maintains a relentless schedule, training 6 days a week with frequent two-a-days. His approach is holistic and integrated. A typical striking session might involve multiple 5-minute rounds cycling through pure boxing, Muay Thai kicks, knees, elbows, and then MMA-specific drills focused on setting up takedowns with strikes. This integrated method, he believes, is crucial for a seamless transition from discipline to discipline during a fight. He contrasts this with Rogan's observation of other champions, like Ilia Topuria, who sometimes isolate skills boxing one day, jiu-jitsu another before merging them. Stevenson, acknowledging his novice status in striking, prioritizes absorption and synthesis, trusting his coaches to build the curriculum. His strength and conditioning remains rooted in his college wrestling days at the University of Minnesota. He still trains with the team's strength coach, incorporating bike sprints, airdyne cycles, VersaClimbers, and rowers to build an unshakable cardio base. His weightlifting focuses on explosive movements, band work, and high rep, low weight circuits to maintain strength without sacrificing flexibility or becoming stiff. He has no desire to bulk up artificially, believing his natural 255-pound frame, combined with his speed, is his optimal fighting weight. Recovery is key, with regular use of cold tubs and saunas at his local Lifetime Fitness, often followed by a game of basketball, another testament to his unique cardio. The business of fighting, negotiations, timing, and building a brand ****. The conversation turns to the logistical next steps. Rogan asks the million-dollar question: is he signed with the UFC? The answer is a strategic not yet. Steveson confirms the UFC has reached out with general interest in date offers, but nothing specific. He reveals his ideal plan: to have one or two more developmental fights outside the UFC to continue honing his skills in a live setting, then sign a major deal and debut on the sport's biggest stage, specifically the historic UFC 300 event. Rogan, thinking like a seasoned manager, agrees with this approach, drawing a parallel to how Cus D'Amato brought Mike Tyson along. The idea is to enter the UFC not as a raw prospect, but as a fully formed problem, sparing him the typical build-up fights against lower competition. Steveson acknowledges the other side of that coin. His hype might make him a high-risk, low-reward matchup for established UFC heavyweights, potentially leading to fighters turning him down. To this, he responds with a chilling, calm assurance: whenever you think you are ready, I will be there waiting. It's a statement that underscores both his confidence and the daunting challenge he presents. Philosophy in combat: learning from legends and defining excellence ****. Rogan and Stevenson spend a significant moment geeking out over the artistry of fighting itself. They analyze the fluid, unpredictable style of fighters like Petr Yan and the technical brilliance of Terence Crawford in boxing. Stevenson shows a keen analytical mind, discussing how Yan's shell-like, fist-forward guard prevents eye pokes while offering superb defense, a subtle dig at the ongoing issue in MMA that Rogan later pounces on. The eye poke problem leads to one of Rogan's signature impassioned rants. Using the recent Tom Aspinall injury as a springboard, he questions why MMA gloves still have open fingers, proposing a redesign with a mitten-style cover over the fingertips that would protect eyes without hindering grappling. Stevenson engages thoughtfully, considering how the leather might affect grip when wet. This segment highlights Rogan's role as an elder statesman of the sport, advocating for fighter safety, and Stevenson's willingness to think critically about its infrastructure. They also delve into the mindset that separates champions. Stevenson shares that in wrestling, he never watched film of his opponents, fearing it would make him reactive, focused on stopping their game instead of imposing his own. John Jones, however, is teaching him the opposite approach for MMA: to study tendencies, to download an opponent's habits. It's a fascinating evolution in his mental approach. The core, however, remains unchanged. He repeats his Olympic mantra: is it me or you? It's do or die. And this tournament, I'm not dying. That switch, he says, is what brings out his best. Life beyond the arena, dogs, games, and navigating a new reality ****. In a reflective shift, Rogan probes how Stevenson plans to stay grounded amidst the coming storm of fame. Stevenson's answers are endearingly normal. His main escapes are video games, Call of Duty, Warzone, and NBA 2K, where he has a customized player model, thanks to a connection with Ronnie 2K. He speaks emotionally about his love for French bulldogs, revealing the heartbreak of losing two to a common spinal disease, a vulnerability that contrasts sharply with his engaged persona. Rogan shares his own dog stories, bonding over the pure, uncomplicated love pets provide. This leads to a deeper discussion on maintaining a private self in a public life. Rogan offers crucial advice: fame is a complicated drug, and if a fighter's self-worth becomes tied to public perception, a single loss can be psychologically devastating. He stresses the importance of protecting one's time and focus, warning about the distractions of Hollywood deals, bad relationships, and yes men. Stevenson is grateful, noting that Jones has already been drilling this into him, constantly advising him to stay clean and go home after training. Conclusion: the calm before the storm. The episode concludes not with a bombastic prediction, but with a sense of serene inevitability. Gable Steveson has done the math. He has the once-in-a-generation athletic pedigree, the work ethic of an Olympic champion, the mentorship of the GOAT, and a rapidly expanding skill set. He is not rushing, he is preparing. He's building not just a fighter, but a legacy the Stevenson name. Rogan, as he wraps up, embodies the sentiment of the entire MMA community. I can't wait to see you fight in the UFC, man. It's going to be fun. This episode serves as the official proclamation. A new force is coming to the heavyweight division. He is polite, coachable, and terrifyingly confident. And if he's right, the version of Gable Steveson we've just met on this podcast is indeed the worst he'll ever be. The best is yet to come, and the wait for his arrival is now the most compelling story in combat sports.